What's up, Notification Squad? Today we're talking about Joe Budden and the everyday struggle situation. But before I get into it, listen to this clip.
I like to live in the future. Like, as a creator, I try to be ahead of things just because I ain't nobody in real life. So, I mean, if I don't beat you to the punch, then I'm not going to get a glass of the punch. Right. So I try to do that. You cannot, let me say it again. You cannot not acknowledge the creators and compensate the creators.
All right, so let's get to it. You know, Joe Budden recently left the Everyday Struggle show. I was a fan of the show. You know, I definitely followed Joe Budden. I followed the podcast. I thought the show was good for hip hop. They brought on different guests. They had serious discussions. It wasn't an interview style show. And I like the contrast. You know, you have academics. He's from the new generation, so his opinion is going to be one way. He's younger at the same time. And then you have Joe Budden. He's always been a controversial figure in hip hop. He's always sort of been the guy who speaks what's on his mind. You know, he's just not going to be a passive yes man. And we need those types of people. So this is one of the shows that brought that together. These guys were definitely informative. They knew the information that they were speaking about. Now you have these bigger companies like Complex. You know, they have this revolving door. They have people, these interns who are desperate to get in. They have people who are desperate to get into Complex anyway. So that takes away from the value of certain individuals like Joe Budden. You know, they're not looking at him like he's a Jay-Z or like he's a P. Diddy or something like that. They're just looking at him as, he's Joe Budden, Slaughterhouse. I don't know. He's not that important. To me, he was a major figure in this whole piece of the puzzle. I mean, if you look at Complex's views now, they have, not the views, the likes. They have turned to dislikes. They have turned to a lot of dislikes. I went back maybe 2 weeks ago and checked the views before Joe Budden left, and they are definitely down. I'm not sure if this is going to be a temporary thing or if people just like the mistreatment of these bigger companies when it comes to people like Joe Budden, who probably ask for simple stuff. You know, a lot of these companies make big bucks off of people. It's no different from any other company in technically the rap game, but it's still unfair. And when people speak up about situations, and I'm sure what Joe Budden was asking for wasn't a huge request. I'm sure a lot of this stuff had to do with financial situations too. We all want more money, but I'm sure it wasn't $1 trillion request. It was probably a simple request that Complex could have honored, and they would have made more money off of Joe. He's the creator, as he said in his interview. He's the creator. The creator, you know, these companies need to stop doing that. They need to stop going to these creators, these musicians, these artists, these videographers, I don't care who it is, and have them do 98% of the work and get 2% of the pay, when it should be the opposite way. These guys should come to a, 70-30, 60. These companies need to stop taking advantage of people. That's just the main point of this overall thing. And let me know what you think about this whole situation. Is it really worth it for Joe to go back? Should they have tried to come to some sort of agreement, or are these two sides who just won't budge?